Greetings, sir and sirettes, and welcome back to From the Depths with me, Lathrix, and of course, welcome to the sandbox mode very briefly, where we're taking a look at the newest update. Now, sadly, over the last few days, I've been pretty much away from anything which would allow me to actually do recording, and so I have, well, got here a bit late when it comes to the new update, and I don't really have enough time to test every little thing out, because I really want to get moving with the campaign itself. But there are two things we really need to take a look at, the first of which is now you can mount turrets on turrets, or spin blocks on spin blocks on spin blocks, and all sorts of stuff like that. In addition to this, you can also now add control blocks, ta-da, the automated control blocks to the turrets and the spin blocks themselves, which means each of the spin blocks can have different control to each other, and that can be really, really good. So we're going to find out if these two turrets can aim at different targets. That's the first test we're going to do. The top one is being connected to a mainframe which really likes tiny little enemies, whereas the main gun, as usual, really wants to shoot at anything large. If that works, then that opens up so many possibilities for just weapons like this. Just actually done properly rather than like this, but you get the idea. And honestly, this opens up so many possibilities for spin block turret hybrids and all sorts of things. You can also put spin blocks on top of turrets, at least I believe you can. Let's find out for certain. Yes, indeed you can. The spin block, I can easily place that somewhere like here, and I can do vice versa, putting a turret on a spin block, so you can have turrets literally come out of the armor now, similar to the missile hatches, which is something I really want to do, making for some ridiculously heavily armored turrets, or just something which looks very, very fancy. And the last thing we want to look at, the second thing, if I get it out of this vehicle, which is the older version, which doesn't have the hatch. There we go, let's just do that for now, a bit of a easy way. Is this. Actually, it'd be easier if we do it as a building, there we go. New objects. We have pistons, which is going to be utterly mad, honestly. And yes, you can put pistons on pistons, but I believe you need to have, like, a base first of all, so let's just do this. Then I think you can put the piston on the wood. Oh, no, you can. Just straight away put it on that. I did not know that. That is something I was not aware of. Sure, that seems reasonable. Then just put something on top of here, like, let's put a weapon on there. Sure. There we go. That seems like a bizarre flower. Sure, why not? Control block, automatic control block, da-da-da-da-da. And then piston, set piston, extension, velocity, nope, that. And there we go. So as you can imagine, this is going to make some truly insane designs. Whoa, that is going way further than I expected. Now, I'm not sure how the hitboxes actually work. Can you harm this piece, or do you have to harm the center? I really don't know. And after a few smaller tests earlier, I still don't know. So if anyone wants to fill in the blank there for me, feel free to. I'm just not sure how you actually destroy a piston. It looks almost like you have to destroy the base block, because if we go to minigun mode, expect some loud noises. We're not actually damaging the piston here, which is really good, because it makes a really annoying target to fire at. But if I destroy the base block, the whole thing simply crumbles and falls down. Okay, so let's do this test then. Make sure it's still off. Lovely. So, to the east, let's spawn in a copperhead, one of the smaller targets. Now, can you stay off? No, you're one of those vehicles which has a control block to make sure you always keep on. Sidewinder then, still fairly small. Okay, so that's what the smaller gun should go for. Then towards the west, let's spawn in a scrapworks. Please don't kill me or the tank. Thank you. So let's pause time to make this easier to do. So on. Please, weapons go for separate targets. Nope. Nope, you are both going for the same target. I mean, it's still pretty cool. I mean, it's a nice hybrid weapon, but... And this turret moves faster still, which is pretty cool as well. This one apparently is also attacking salvage. So that works, though. Okay, I'm going to double check a few of the settings to make sure they are meant to be going against different targets. They both have different mainframes, mainframe 2 and mainframe 3. So you would think they would go off their own target prioritization, but it seems like the control of the main weapon is overriding the control for the smaller weapon in some ways. I mean, it's still very cool, and it means you can turn incredibly quickly towards a target because this is spinning on something which is also spinning, so naturally it's going with extra speed, which is pretty cool. Yep, they both have the opposite. One has +1 per block, one has -1 per block. So ideally, this one here, which is going off number 3, right? If I can actually get on, yep, receiving on channel 3, and the one underneath here, because this is the old version of the tank, which still had all this going on. Yep, you are on number 2. So, not too sure here, honestly, then. Can I actually look at this again? I looked at it for half a second. Why is this so weird? Let me look at you. 2, yeah? Yeah, 2. So it does seem like the main turret does override it, which is a shame. It is a shame. It would be nice to see it going off and firing at separate areas. Well, there's a problem. So what's happening here is that the AI can't figure out where it should be aiming the barrels, and it's aiming as if only this one actually needs to aim, and it's firing this one at the same altitude, which obviously isn't as good because those shells are much, much slower. Now that should be fixed by simply removing this from this, correct? That should go to working now just fine. Yep. Definitely working just fine, obliterating the enemy there. Now, I think that can be fixed by placing the local weapon controllers differently, because things like that can happen sometimes when you add missiles to a regular advanced cannon as well. Which means it really is acting as if it's just one turret with more than one movable piece. Which is actually okay, because it means we could add some 2-axis turrets, or just smaller turrets to the side here, which then use this to turn left and right, and then go up and down using a more regular mantlet, but also have the ability to do that, and go all the way up, where it wouldn't have normally if it was a regular standalone weapon on the turret. Okay, so that's very, very cool. Well, with that quick look out of the way, and don't worry, I will be doing a lot of experimentation with the pistons and with the spin blocks and stuff like that off camera, so I completely understand it before the next episode. All I want to do today is kill a few enemies, which apparently might get a lot easier than I originally thought. So this is where we died in the last episode. We lost all of our helicopters, although we did a significant amount of damage to the enemy, and we claimed all of these tiles for our own. So we're going to go back there, this time with tanks, and we are going to obliterate their defenses here on the resource zone. I want that resource, and I want especially the enemy to no longer be able to have it, so that they spawn in enemies a little bit slower, because we are under constant attack at the moment, and it feels like I can't do anything. Also, very soon, our resource zones will be bled dry, and that would be really, really bad. So what we need to do is make sure we have at least 3 tanks in defense, and then any extra tanks can go with our helicopters once they're repaired, and go and attack the resource zone. I honestly believe, especially after seeing one of their defenders simply walking away, 1 tank plus the helicopters will mean we can claim that resource zone and build our own little land rig there, which would be really, really fantastic. So what do we actually have? We have 2 skimmers here. So I will be sacrificing those straight away. Which also means, very soon, by the way, I will be bringing in the finalized version of the skimmer. The finally skimmer, as I'm now going to refer to it as. There we are. Lots of resources there on the ground. That should repair up most of the helicopters straight away. We have the 3 tanks currently here. Now, one of you, Mr. Satellite, can you please go over there? That would be fantastic. The other satellite, can you please go back to your normal height and protect this area? Okay, good. We've got fuel again. Got a lot of resource in the Dauntless. I think we're going to be able to make 1 tank straight away. Am I correct? Yes, I'm definitely correct. So we can add, I would say the minigun variant will probably do the best. Although saying that, against the larger opponents we're seeing, we do already have the helicopters which are going to help out. So maybe the Hesh variant. One of the two. The copters are all back online, which means we can go ahead and spawn in 1 more of our minigun tanks. Once that's done, we can go back and do a bit of aggression. Oh, that's a shame. It looks like the enemy is coming back to defend. No, in fact, that's a brand new group, because once again, the enemy are reinforcing way too quickly. We could be really, really aggressive, which might be very, very silly, and also send in the 3 other tanks we have. So that would be 4 tanks and all 6 of the copters. The enemy aren't approaching at the moment from the east, but they could be, and that's the biggest issue. We can only see to here with our satellite. It wouldn't take long. Basically 2 tiles worth of movement and then 1 fight, and then bring the tanks back. I don't know. I think it's reckless. But if we can control that resource zone, it means we're building faster and the enemy are building slower. It's so much more effective than just getting resource, because it's also bleeding it away from the enemy. Time for a little bit of revenge. We are up against the Tremor, which has already taken some significant damage from the copters. And now we're back with some lovely new friends, with our lovely tanks here to help protect us. So like I said before, this is very, very risky. We are spending all of our forces here to make sure we take this resource zone, which means we have no defense currently back at base. If the enemy attack us, there is a very real possibility we just lose the game. So I am betting against that happening. It's a bit of a gambit. It may work, it may not. We'll quickly find out. Is everyone at the correct height? I had a few problems with the copter spawning in incorrectly earlier, so would be nice just to make sure that is the case. Yep, all seem okay. Begin. In the rain, of course. Can already see 1 tank firing away and another tank behind it doing the same. There's about to be a lot of very small bullet holes all around the enemy. I still love the fact we took out the front gun. The side guns are still there, which is very annoying. That missile itself fired, by the looks of things. Looks like it's going to hit itself. I mean, it did, but thankfully it bounced, at least thankfully for the enemy. Where's the copters and everything else? Has the Hesh tank fired? Yes, it has. With so many attacking it, this should be quite a quick fight. The only thing is, cram cannons will still kill our tanks. So we'll see if we actually lose any. The miniguns are already going through the armor very, very quickly. Incoming the first missile volley. The Hesh shell has landed. Let's see if its cram shot will do anything against our tank, however. Thankfully, it was a misfire. So was the other one. Huzzah for the inaccuracy of the enemy. Yeah, that did not last long. It looked like it already couldn't move. I think we may have taken out its engines before. So it just stood there and took a lot of damage. The copters happily wobbling away now that they have tasted sweet, sweet victory. Excellent. Now the thing is, there is definitely another group about to reach here. So all of you, just move your butts and let's get that salvage so you can repair yourselves. Since I did see one of the copters still a little bit hurt, apparently I didn't repair it fully because I'm a dum-dum. Oh, never mind. Maybe I'm going mad. This was our satellite, which sadly I did have to sacrifice to make sure the enemy was in the perfect position. It is a funny thing, but I honestly think that this tank and the Plague Guard are the two vehicles I'm most proud of ever building. And both for the same reason. They are simplicity that works. It feels like I finally nailed the base mechanics of the game, because it's just basic spaced and layered armor in a way that's effective against most weapons. It's got all of the basic mechanics sorted. It works well. It's cheap. And that's what I absolutely adore. There's nothing flashy about it. I don't feel like it's a cheesy vehicle, especially the Hesh version. But it just steamrolls things sometimes, and that makes me very happy. Because it means I'm slowly getting better. Well, the enemy are about to reach us, so this is a Scrapworks and just loads of Sidewinders and Sand Vipers. I'm not too worried about this. The only thing I am worried about is they will have a good initial burst, like us, so we might lose a copter or two, or take some significant damage on one of our tanks. But if we can kill this with no real incident, then we can go ahead and kill this very, very easily. Then as soon as we have the resource zone, send the tank back. At least 2 out of the 4 need to go home straight away. And then we need to build a defensive land rig. What we can do is make the land rig one giant weapon. And if we do that, then we should be able to secure our place against the Dustwind Gypsies once and for all. We can stop worrying about them and focus on the Lightning Hood defense. We also have about 8,000 resources currently stockpiled, so we can make a new tank soon, or a proper sand skimmer. They are really slow. I guess it's the Scrapworks, but I don't really want to move in though. I want them to come to us. It does make placement way better. Are they moving? I think so, yeah. Yeah. Apparently we waited so long, another wave of enemies has appeared, so maybe I shouldn't have waited. Maybe I should have just gone straight into their tile and just hoped for the best. Just make sure everything is in the correct position, and then we shall start trying to stagger our tanks as much as possible. Same with the copters. The last thing we want is for our units to be too clumped up. First of all, it means they can easily hurt each other, which can be game over straight away, especially if a Hesh shell goes into the back of one of our tanks. The tanks may be sturdy, especially if they're low cost, but they cannot take a hit from the back at just close range. It would obliterate them. Make sure the land is all nice and loaded in. Oh, there's the enemies! Just looking over there, and this like red blur of enemies is right behind me. God, this is going to be bad. You know what? I don't think I should have the tanks this close. But at the same time, our tanks can destroy these very quickly if they get a lock. So being this close is not that bad. Let's see the enemies then. Well, it seems like they're all spawning in weirdly together. Love a bit of synergy there, lads. Although one of you seems to have detonated because of this. Well done. There was nothing else I could really do there. Oh no, it wasn't. It was because of friendly fire. Wow, lots of friendly fire. That is so good for us. Not only are you hurting your friend, those shells aren't going to reach our tank. Which I'm glad about, because apparently you're all focusing on one of our tanks. That is actually crushing the front armor pretty quickly. Okay, one tank heavily crippled, the other one massively damaged. By tank, I meant the enemies. Here comes our copter. Yep, the miniguns have just shredded their smallest. Come on. Oh my god, that was almost friendly fire from a Hesh shell. Seems like the enemy Scrapworks is still surviving a lot of fire, and this really is showcasing how inefficient the miniguns are going to be versus more heavily armoured opponents. That was all 3 minigun tanks firing at this medium to low armour target, and only now is it dying. And there's a Hesh shell, just to make sure. You dead? Yep, definitely dead. I think we have won this one then. Need to make those shields less apparent. They're a bit ugly, aren't they? But still, that was a completely crushing victory for us. How bad was the damage on the tank we were in? The black pieces of armor here have already been repaired, but yeah, it looks like it's scratched off quite a bit, and we're lucky it was firing where it was. The corners here are actually our most heavily armoured parts, because you need to get through 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 layers before the 2 small ammo storages. And that includes 1 air layer, so yeah, we're fine. Come on, don't care about repairing right now, just want to go straight into the last enemy. Hello there, final enemy! Prepare for the ultimate act of revenge. We have slaughtered your comrades and now we're going to slaughter you. But not only that, we're going to take your lands and make them our own, to fuel our own war machine. Is that everyone? Looks like I'm missing a tank. No, I'm not. I'm going mad. Okay, good to know, just a bit of madness. And you know what? This time around, let's spawn the copters in a little bit closer, just so straight away those missiles are going in. We should win this one quite easily again. We've already damaged the main, as we said before. We have 4 tanks all set up, ready to fire. We have the volume, and we have the cost advantage. Yes, we do. So really, we should just win this nice and easily. Missile fire already coming in, aiming at the small targets with the miniguns, as we would expect. There we go, Hesh shell hitting the side, doing loads of internal damage. The miniguns are quickly shredding the armor, and the missiles are doing a load of internal damage since the armor's already been shredded. And that was that. Is that actually AI dead, or is it 2 damage? It's hard to tell. No, it's just 2 damaged. Is it? Yeah, just 2 damage, so we can't recapture it. Well, that was pretty brutal. Like I've said before, this game, the alpha strike is the most important thing. Your initial volley is everything. And that's what the copters are built for. A devastating quick attack and then simply run away. Come on, hurry up and die. 2 damaged. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and the victor is us. So let's claim this for our own straight away. Maybe should have put that first block as heavy armor instead, since that'll be the root block. Click, there we go. Okay, let's just make something really, really quick straight away out of wood, just because this will be a lot easier. There we go. Here's a question. Can you put the pistons on a spin block? Evidently you can. Evidently you can. What I'm about to do is going to be ridiculously stupid looking, by the way, but I just can't help myself. Before we build something more permanent, I just want a station that we can get resources from. You may be asking yourself, what on earth is Lathrix doing? And honestly, Lathrix doesn't know either. So, we're all in the same boat here. Okay, that seems reasonable. Control blocks. Let's put them here next to the spin block. So, first of all, can we take everything out of play, please? You're just wasting fuel going in circles. Thank you. Hello, building. So, spin blocks. Set rotation speed to something quite slow every second. That seems fine. Next, pistons. Extend to max. Every few seconds. No, every few seconds, there we go. Oh, that is stupid. I love it. Oh, that tickled me fancy, that did. Okay, let's... I'm gonna make a super defensive base to defend against the Dustwind Gypsies. Makes that. Let's go with RTG power so I don't have to refuel this thing. Oh. That made me laugh. Okay, so... Is that connected? Should be. Is it connected though? Good. Same with you. Ah, now you're connected. This is causing some serious lag for some reason, by the way. And finally, let's give ourselves some storage. That's the best thing. Because I use oil drills. This is how we harvest resources in the Legion. Oh, that's fantastic. Where's the piston one? You know what I could do? Have the pistons go from max to minimum over and over again. Da, 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 da. Oh, that is fantastic. I mean, what more do you need in life? Now, what I shouldn't do is speed it up, because this will probably cause lag. Whoa. Yep, that's not good. Let's slow that down a bit. Let's make it at least... Yep, that's it. That's how we harvest resource these days. Well, I'm glad we've put pistons to a good use. Here's a question. The pistons, can they be saved like a normal spin block and such? Because they do count as it. There we go, this is the piston. So, save sub-object. That's an old one, just remove now. So, if I went back to the piston again, could I put this here? That is magnificent. In fact, I could save the spin block. So let's do that again, but this time instead, let's save the spin block itself, which will then be affected by the spinner, right? So then we go on over to the piston and put it here. Oh wait, no, to the piston, there we go. And that'll go slightly faster, because not only is it spinning, it's also spinning with the spin block speed. And we could keep on doing that, by the way. Or we could have this one slower, because what you can do is you can put a control block just on this one here, and then have it in range of that, so you can have this one slower rather than going faster. So what's happening here? Are we out of power, or is it out of resources, or what's actually happening here? Looks like we have enough power. Are we just burning through the resource too quickly? So there's nothing actually left to harvest, or what's going on? Yeah, okay, so we're just harvesting it too fast. That's why it's doing that. So, I think that's a good time to end it, don't you? I mean, I think I've done science today. I really hope you've enjoyed today's video. The From the Depths, Drone, and Terratech series are all going to be back at normal speed very, very soon. I do apologise for the delay. Hopefully, everything's back to normal now. So, if you have enjoyed, then of course, likes, favourites, shares, comments, all that good stuff, helps out me, helps out the channel, and most importantly, shows that this is something you wish to see continued in the future. And yes, we are going to be using this as the thumbnail. Thank you for watching, and goodbye.